I'm Saffy Sprocket, and I've been riding around Europe to raise money for the Northwest Air Ambulance. Now, I'm not the most experienced rider as I only got my licence 2 years ago, and we did hit a few speed bumps along the way. However, determined to make a difference, I continue to persevere. I'm incredibly excited to share with you that we recently hit our target on Christmas Eve, making it a wonderful Christmas gift for the charity. However, the journey isn't over yet, and we still have several countries to get through. In the meantime, the fundraiser is still open for anyone who wants to make a donation, so please give generously. I also want to give a big major shout out to both Roadskin and Dunlop Tyres, who without their support this trip couldn't have happened. There's links in the descriptions if you'd like to learn more about both companies. In the meantime, let's get back to the adventure. I started to work my way through Austria, road by road, and enjoying the scenic mountains and the empty surroundings. Today was one of those days where everything just seemed to be a little bit easier. One of the strange things about riding around in Austria is that the citizens are ridiculously helpful. This meant that every time I pulled up on the side of the road to make a coffee, every 10 minutes a car would pull in and check if I'd broken down. I found myself constantly having to explain that I was fine to so many people.
Like me when I'm trying to get up a hill. Go on, little tractor.
More often than not, I found myself repositioning my cooking gear so that drivers were able to see that I was making coffee in hopes that they wouldn't pull over. Ironically, when I did finally manage to drink my coffee, I then realised that my bike had no fuel, and I was in the middle of the mountains. My options were either to go back 30 minutes or to go forward 50. In the spirit of adventure, I naturally chose the latter. As Rocket chugged along bit by bit, I was constantly counting up the number of miles I was prepared to push my motorbike if my fuel ran out. I found myself constantly stopping and pulling over to check if I really did have to ride that far on the sat-nav. And then a few minutes later, I'd just do the exact same thing, hoping that a petrol station had miraculously appeared.
I think I'm gonna have to do a little bit of digging around, basically. Scheiße. Ah, oh no. I just unstrapped my luggage. What is wrong with me today? Oh, my bike is like slipping. Whoop. Jesus Christ.
I'd finally reached a petrol station, and I must admit this was one of my more embarrassing moments on the trip. You see, as I went to fuel up the bike, I quickly realised that the shop attached to the petrol station was closed, and there was no way to pay with card. The nearest station after this one was a considerable 40 miles away, and I knew that there was just no way that I was going to be able to get there.
Oh god.
And so I stood there swearing at my motorcycle, much to the amusement of some local Austrians. Fortunately, one guy kindly yelled over to me and pointed out that the card reader was actually at the end of the pump, less than a metre from where I was stood. It's a good job that I had my bike helmet on really, because I certainly felt like my face was burning up watching all of his passengers in the car trying not to laugh at me. After helping me at the station, as you can imagine, I was incredibly keen to ride away as fast as possible.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good luck.
Thank you.
Everything.
I rode for another 30 minutes when I finally reached what potentially could be my camping spot for the night. However, I wasn't quite happy with the location. You see, tomorrow I wanted to ride Austria's highest mountain pass, and I was currently situated 2.5 hours away. I decided to follow my gut and keep riding for another hour and a half so that I would be in the best possible position to undertake the challenge the next morning. However, that meant one thing: riding through the Alps roads at night time.
A good shout, Saffy. Why do I always do this? Oh. Okay, it's good. There's less gravelly here. Oh my god, I sincerely hope this isn't a dead end. Oh my god. It's not like the mud either. Gravel hurts a lot more if you fall on it. Does this even lead anywhere? Oh, it does look like it leads somewhere. Immediate fear. Oh.
Whilst the roads had been beautiful and clear all day, riding down them at night was a completely different story. The road passes were covered by the shade of the mountains all day, and so even at the peak of midday, they were still prone to forming ice. At nighttime, it was a whole nother story. Not only were they icy, but there was also very little lighting, and far too many animals for my liking. What should have been a 90-minute ride cost me 3 hours in total.
Why are you crossing the road, chicken? What are you doing? Well, I'll be damned.
I arrived at the campsite incredibly late. The entire place was locked up and the Hausmeister had long since fallen asleep. I knocked on the door of the site hut and I was greeted by one of the employees. In keeping with my experience of Austrians over the last few days, despite how late it was, he was incredibly welcoming. He told me not to worry about payment for the time being and showed me where I could set up base to sleep. On top of that, he then even went on to loan me 10 euros so that I could wash my clothes overnight.
Alright, over there you see.
This way.
Yeah, this way.
Okay.
If you come with me, I'll show you. Over there is a tent.
Yeah.
And this place over here is all for tents.
Okay.
You can.
So is there water?
Water is.
After setting up my tent, I finally headed over to the campsite laundry room. Now it could have been the fact that the room was dark, or perhaps even warm, or maybe it was the case that the rhythmic sound of the machines were just so incredibly soothing, but for whatever reason I sat on the floor, leaning against the wall, and I eventually fell asleep. Next week on Saffy Sprocket.
Woman!
Yeah. Danke.
Hi guys, my name's Saffy Sprocket and welcome back to the channel. Now if you watch this, I'm currently travelling on the road to raise money for the charity the Northwest Air Ambulance. Now the Northwest Air Ambulance does an insane amount of work. I'm currently joined with Simon, who's one of the crew members. Simon, what exactly do you do for bikers and how many accidents are you attending to?
Motorcyclists, obviously they go out on a nice day, out on the country roads, and then when the unfortunate happens and they have an accident, quite often the Northwest Air Ambulance are quite well placed to be the first on scene to attend the motorcyclists after the accident in a rural location. So unfortunately it is one of the quite common scenarios that we come across. I've just looked actually, and we've attended so far this year 77 motorcyclists, so that's attended to them at the side of the road and then flown them into the specialist centre for ongoing treatment.
That is a lot of lives.
I think we do make a difference. I think with motorcyclists because of where they have their accidents, they can often be quite rural, so getting the appropriate care to them quite quickly, being able to assist them with pain relief, management of their symptoms, and then getting them to the right hospital. It's something that we play a huge role in on the North West Air Ambulance.
And is it true that you rely on charity donations?
It is. We're completely reliant on the generosity of the general public, so yeah, we are 100% charity funded.
That is insane to think, you know, the amount of work you're doing in the biker community. And
it is, and it's a great thing that, you know, just individual members of the public being so generous and supporting us, and then it means that we've got the sort of tools to go out and make the difference to the injured motorcyclist at the side of the road. So yeah, we really appreciate the support.
That is fantastic. Now, if you guys would like to learn more about the North West Air Ambulance Service, and if you'd like to make a donation yourselves, I will drop a link in the description below. Until next week, my name's Saffy Sprocket, signing off.